fast forward, any come our channel, so I'll say podcast or train and make us make headlines. Jemre na EDB Exomo or Hadidima, young Queen Simu. Na OSP at me a file a year 54 charges against a year former NPA boss Mustafa Enyaksem Koto Akroma. Nene Omo Akopimo court. Ne de by asem any see Menoka say Ebeja for attract Omo Ebomu inchimum. Yen semre yen ko enseminum ne hwede ye ko ene de eba me da sese wajemre e wa akse.
Now, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has filed fresh charges against former CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, Mustafa Abdul Hamid, and 9 others. The charges amended brings to a total of 54 counts from the previous 25. Mustafa Hamid and the 9 others are facing multiple charges, including extortion, abuse of public office, and money laundering, totaling in excess of 291 million cedis in the Ghanaian cedi and then $332,000. According to the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the accused persons allegedly extorted hundreds of millions of cedis and foreign currency from bulk oil transporters and oil marketing companies under the guise of official duties. In court today, however, the accused persons were informed about an adjournment due to the unavailability of the judge. Let's connect with Lord Ěxtǒrtion, is my colleague in court for us this afternoon, because quite a number of issues. We also know that there's a development on the Sky Train. But Lord, let's start from these amended charges as we've seen the Office of the Special Prosecutor file. Talk to us about it and what it means for the case.
Right, Marina, and so essentially, like you indicated, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, they noted that due to the acquisition of new evidence or the discovery of new evidence, they have had reason to, as it were, amend the new charges. And so in court, they were expecting them to withdraw the old charges that had to do with the 25 counts and then put before the court the fresh charges, in addition to which is the 29, to make it the total of 54. But that could not happen because of the new development. Now, Marina, I need to put on record that the case would have been heard at the Criminal Court 3, which is normally presided over by the substantive judge, who is Justice Mami Ekwe Yanzu. We are learning that she's been elevated to the Court of Appeal, and this was the reason why she was absent in court today. And so as it stands now, that court, Criminal Court 3, has no judge, and that was the reason why the case could not come off. Now, these new charges proffered against Mustafa Hamid and then the 9 others had to do with multiple counts of money laundering. You outlined some of the reasons, the 2 incidents of the monies, which was, as it were, with the... Man, I can hear. I think I'm
yeah. Lord, I can still quite hear you. I can hear you very well.
Great. Yeah. So basically, the money has to do with the multiple counts of money laundering, which the Special Prosecutor indicated that they siphoned from working with the other OMCs, with the guise of working at the National Petroleum Authority, and so that was how come these charges were proffered against them. Now, Mustafa Hamid himself, he was present with his lawyers, and then some of the other accused persons here appeared happy and hale, but the case could not come on. So we are waiting to see how things will pan out, because the case has been adjourned to November 13, where we are expecting the Special Prosecutor to put before the court the new charges after withdrawing the old charges.
Right. Let's talk briefly about the SkyTrain matter as well. We know there's an update in relation to that. Talk to us about that update.
Indeed. So at the last agenda, the former board chair, Professor Christopher Amir Kunfi, he communicated to the court that he was having some misunderstanding with his lawyer, for which reason the lawyer had withdrawn his services. And so they were expecting to find out if he had been able to secure the services of a new lawyer, or he had resolved that issue with the old lawyer, for want of a better word. But he himself, he was absent in court today. The first accused person, Solomon Asamoah, he was present with his counsel, Victor Ablaze, and then the prosecution was represented by the State Attorney, Sepako. Now, they indicated that they had filed an affidavit in opposition to that application to stay proceedings by the defense counsel. Now, Marina, they had filed an affidavit to, they had filed an application to stay proceedings because they had filed an appeal against that decision by the High Court, and so they wanted to move that application, but there's been a development that the prosecution has also filed an affidavit in opposition, and they served it on them today. And so Victor Ablaze, the lead counsel for Solomon Asamoah, indicated to the court that they had just been served, and so pray for an adjournment to go process this documentation, and then we'll move forward from there. Right now, so we're back in court on Wednesday on this matter, and we'll see if Professor Amir Kunfi will be in court with a new lawyer, or we'll know if there's been a resolution. And then the court will hear that application to stay proceedings.
Right then, Lord, thank you very much for those details. That's my colleague, Lord Iduasare, with details, therefore, as from the court in relation to two matters. The first is the OSP amending charges, and so from what Lord tells us, he withdrew he's expected to withdraw the first one and then put in the new or the fresh charges, 54 in total, up from 25, and as well, Professor Amir Kunfi also expected in court. We'll switch from this and bring you politics, because there's quite a lot developing on that front as well. And eyes remain fixed on the New Patriotic Party's January 31st primary to elect a new flag bearer. Now, while that race has picked up considerable heat, another race of equal importance is picking up steam. The race for who becomes General Secretary of the opposition New Patriotic Party has drawn out interesting names, with former members of parliament vying for a seat at the decision-making table of the largest opposition party in the country. The latest is former Ablekuma West MP Ěxtǒrtion, as of today, declared her intention to contest the position. This brings to 5 the number of people who've declared a willingness to contest. We'll walk you through this afternoon details of the individuals who have decided to be a part of this. And I mentioned 5 of them. Let's try and get the details for you. And Ěxtǒrtion, most notable, since she decided to make her intent known today, is number 1 on our, in terms of the individuals we're taking a look at. And that's her. She's a former member of parliament for Ablekuma West, and also the Minister for Communication and Digitalization under the previous administration. She's made her intent known, and so we know that she will be on that ballot paper. That's if all things remain equal. Then there is, have to have this checked, there is as well the Justin Frimpong Kodia, who is the incumbent General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. He says he's going to contest as well, and he will be a person of interest in this particular one as well. He's the man everybody will be seeking to beat, and that remains to be seen if it is the reality. Also, vying for that position, Eugene Boakye is a former member of parliament for the Subin constituency as well. He had made his intention known very early, very, very early. He continues as well to be a person of interest in this particular race. And then we know as well Sylvester Tete, former member of parliament for English Yamanfrom, and deputy minister for information as well. And so out of that list, we've seen 3 of them who are former members of parliament from the immediate 8th parliament, as well as ministers of state. And then the last we know, Henry Kwabena Kokofu is a former EPA boss and also a former member of parliament for the Bantama constituency. Let's try and subject all of this to a bit more in terms of analysis as to the faces we're seeing and the messaging, because Ursula says it's time to rescue the party. Is it really the case? And why so many individuals interested in this position of General Secretary? Let's speak to Dr. Samuel Efrie. He's a political analyst who's joined us via Zoom this afternoon. Doc, always a pleasure talking to you. Good afternoon. I trust that you're well.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Doing well, and I hope you too.
By God's grace. Let's get into it in terms of the faces we're seeing, the individuals amongst many other things. This is looking like a race that will pick up a lot of interest and has indications to go right down to the wire.
Yes, and I greet your cherished viewers as well. You know, after the MPP presidential elections in January 31st, then comes in for the national executives. And you know, that will also be one of the areas that will be keenly contested, especially all the positions. But you realize that for now, the secretary position is highly contested in terms of people that are coming in. And you know, all these positions, that is the general secretary, the MPP structure is quite different from the NDC, where the MPP, the general secretary, is at least the position that secretary, the position of that one is it weights much power and also authority within the party structure. So if you hold that position, that means that actually you hold that the party as well. So when you remember, you realize that the current executives have some quite challenges in terms of their leadership, where the chairman is at least, to use the word, incapacitated for him not to perform. And at the same time, you have the secretary and other executives as well. But their performance currently, realize that the national executive is not much up to expectation of the grassroots level. So now members of the party are yearning for people who can give them hope, who can put the party onto a system where a winning machine system for election 2028. So they want people who are capable, people who are skillful, people who have the experience. So it will not be for first timers that will come in to try. That is what the guys might be expecting. They want people who are well positioned within the party to carry on the party. But that is when we realize that for the general secretary for the MPP, I think it's a main dominated position all this while. So for Esla coming in will be challenging enough, but you know that for her, she has built herself strategically within the party, that currently you realize that she is one of them that when it comes to the party structure, most of the top experience being a minister.
Recklessness of people we put into public office. I'm saying once again that the biggest problem that impedes us in whether or not we can successfully exit the IMF program, because when you take all the other indicators, we are massively on track.
We are on track on energy.
We're massively on track. But I'm saying that where we have a massive shortfall is the energy sector debt.
That's true. Yeah.
And that we could have exited this year.
That's true.
But that's where we have the biggest shortfall. And I'm saying that, you see, accountability also means letting people know that there's consequence for their actions. Accountability doesn't only mean we asking you, but where there are clear infractions that has caused losses to the state, then there must be consequences. There must be consequences. So these people who clearly have made procurements, clearly without the interest of the state in mind, who've made procurements of things that we clearly did not need, who have gone outside the scope of their mandate. Are we just going to ask them some few questions at the Parliament Accountability Forum and let them go scot-free? Certainly not. Because we are building a political culture. And in that building of our political culture, there's a burden on all of us as Ghanaians to shift what fuels our politics and what fuels our politics ought to be. And then when I say politics here, I don't mean just being in power, but also being in opposition. I mean the journalists, I mean the CSOs, anybody who claims they are practicing politics ought to understand that their only mandate, whenever they are taking decision, is in this action I'm taking, how does it build a strong state? This decision I'm taking, how does it inure to the well-being of the citizens? So that if the answer to both questions are no, then that person ought to be far away from politics. And we can only build that culture, we can only create that system where people who claim they're doing politics will do same with the two considerations of building a strong state and create a situation where the well-being of the citizens are protected. If we begin prosecuting people who are doing parochial politics, and we can use the ICG issue as a starting point.
I say.
We need to go after them. Anybody who must go after all these people who are doing stomach politics and have made themselves rich. We must go after people we put there to checkmate them. So was there no audit done? That for 8 years, this has gone on, and you have to take a fresh government for these issues to come up. Listen, people, that's why we formed the UP Plus. Yes, and one of our core mandates is want to bring decency into politics, to do politics that has the interest of Ghana at heart, and that's why our motto is Ghana first.
UP Plus.
That's why, because we need to change how politics is done in Ghana. We told you that if the NDC do things and we feel is right, we will say it. And I've been saying it when they've done things. Because that politics of opposing everything government is doing doesn't make sense to me. Because then the question is, why are you doing the politics? Is it that you just want the power and don't even know how to use the power? Then when you've done that, then when they're also going off track, then you have the credibility to oppose. Because what fuels you is the interest of the country. And so to end, and I'm glad my learned friend is here. No mercy for the cripple. In fact, they are not cripples. No mercy for the evil. Let's go after these people and let's make sure that we start a process of making people know that there are consequences for your actions.
Yeah. Well, nobody has been prosecuted for a very long time. I think the last time we had some prosecution of assault in relation to misapplication of funds or making approvals of such nature was the Chachu Chikata case. Of course, it's come under dispute many times as well because he's exonerated. Abuga Pele.
Yes, and by his own government.
For poorly supervised.
By his own government.
Okay. So at the end of the day, Dr. Tutubuanyi, we need to take a real look at this. Is that not it?
Yes. So once again, good morning to our viewers, and good morning to yourself and my co-panelists. Yes, I think that for me, I don't really condone and connive with corruption. And so any other matter relating to corruption, I would probably want to see a government or a country where corruption becomes a kind of, something that is hated. And it is not something that we actually entertain. I think about 2 weeks ago, we saw in China that a minister was involved in corruption and he has been sentenced to death.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now that tells you that the kind of punishment that comes with, corruption in certain parts of the world is something, that would serve as a deterrent to the younger generation coming up. And so that is what we want to see. And I think that I agree with Lawyer Pierre Dankwa that if anyone, has been cited, if anybody has been mentioned, the courts must deal with the person and due processes should be followed. And these people should be brought to book. But you see, Roland, the fact still remains that in as much as we talk about politicians, I think that we are equally forgetting about, the administrators, people who work with ECG, the technical people, the professionals who are in there, and the kind of, procurement breaches that sometimes they tend to cause. I see no reason why a whole procurement officer of ECG would sit down and probably sit unconcerned for items to be procured, and you are telling me that you cannot even trace it. I find it a bit fascinating. And that talks about probably the level and caliber of people that we put in public positions. Now, because the little knowledge that I have about procurement is that when you are going through negotiations and all the procurement processes. I mean, one thing that you should be doing is probably to be in the same line with an agency that is involved in the procurement processes. Besides that, if you are dealing directly with a supplier, you should be able to track communication, track whatever you have procured until it gets to your doorstep. And so I feel that, yes, politicians probably might have caused certain damages. But again, what about the professionals who are in there? So if you are going to cause, how do you call it, causing financial loss, you are going to call for causing financial loss, the law to be triggered. We must not just limit it to the politician. I mean, those people who are paid every month, you know, to deal with procurement issues should also be called to answer some of these questions. And we don't need to leave them to sit just like that and probably shift all blames to the doorstep of the politician. You see, I am a teacher. If I go to class and I'm teaching and I'm not teaching well, I mean, if students complain, obviously my VC will not be happy with me, all right? And even though when there is a damage, the name of my VC will be mentioned. But again, the lecturer who stands in the class to teach the students is equally, you know, at fault, all right? Because VC will not go and teach, all right? He is involved more in administrative issues. And I am the lecturer. I must make sure that I impart knowledge. So if I am not imparting the right knowledge and my students are not faring well, they get to the job market and they are not performing, then obviously I have failed in my capacity as a lecturer. My core duties, I have failed in it. And so I believe that, look, Roland, we are moving this country into another level of economic development, right? And it is very important that we revisit our laws, we revisit our regulations, the level of professionalism, the code of ethics, and all that are.
We ayan sama hodo chimi ko so channel no so mamna so jemre e wahada sene so ba de ndia dumi edumi enia oni e besen rem ni aso